Ladies and gentlemen, pay attention. This is your boy, the coach from the WWE. I would like to welcome you to the very first wrestling podcast in the world to take you on a weekly deep dive into classic matches along with legends of the squared circle. Enjoy the discussion. Enjoy the back and forth. There's so much to get into. Ladies and gentlemen, this is The Payoff.
Welcome to an all-new episode of The Payoff. I'm Tom. That's Jeff. Jeff, how the hell are you doing?
Boy, this is monumental for us. Episode 350. This is just insanity when you think about it.
Yeah, 350 matches. And we've covered. You claim to have another 350 in the vault ready to go, right?
Maybe 325, but yeah, we're gonna keep chugging along here. We're doing pretty good.
All right, so it's 675. We may need to call it quits.
That's fine. Yeah, we'll do a couple more.
So the craziest thing is, I don't think we probably haven't covered maybe one or two of those like NXT matches, but we really haven't covered anything that's happened in the past, 5+ years, maybe even like 7 years.
Yeah, and I try and avoid that too.
Yeah, we should. But I'm just saying,
2-3 years.
In a few years, they'll be 10 years old.
Right, exactly. So then we'll cover them. But for now, yeah, we're just still kind of plugging along with them. Yep.
All right. So how did you pick this one? Cena, Shawn, WrestleMania.
Yeah, I was actually surprised we hadn't covered this one to this point. As everybody knows, we're now coming off of WrestleMania week. So I thought this would be, we're still on the payoff road to WrestleMania and covering some WrestleMania matches. And so this is our last Mania match. And this was one, of course, there was a lot of what if going in. Is Cena going to, get physical? Of course, he didn't. It was not even on the show much. And then Shawn Michaels is Shawn Michaels. And so just one of those that, we say, 325, 350 episodes left. But then, we look through the list and we're like, oh shit, how did we not cover a main event of WrestleMania with Shawn Michaels and John Cena? Okay, I'm an idiot. Let's get this handled. So that's why we're covering this one.
Yeah, and I'm interested in this one too, because I think in the Shawn Michaels WrestleMania folklore, I don't even know if this is top 10. We'll pull up a list and go through it. But the point is this one really doesn't get talked about much. But Shawn Michaels is headlining WrestleMania again against John Cena. So looking forward to covering this one. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's get into the build.
Oh, it's time for the build.
WrestleMania 23 in Detroit. We'll talk about this during the match, but it'll be interesting to see where the next 10 or 20 WrestleManias are. I don't necessarily think Detroit may get one, but we'll talk about that because I think it's a really interesting topic. Ford Field, 74,000. This did a massive buy rate, 1.25 million. Maybe we can dig into some of the numbers here, but I think it was the highest grossing at the time. It did really well. I remember this because I remember Trump taking credit for it. If you remember, it was I led to the biggest pay-per-view buy rate ever. But then they actually did. This show did a massive buy rate. You look at the card, you're like, why this one? But I don't know. It did really well. So let's get through this. By the way, this was April 1st of 2007. So going through the card here, dark match. I guess pre-show, Ric Flair and Carlito are going to defeat Gregory Helms and Chavo Guerrero in a lumberjack match. So that was your pre-show match, Ric Flair. Wild, right? All right, we start off hot. Money in the Bank. Mr. Kennedy wins it. Defeats Punk, Orton, Finley, Matt Hardy, Booker T, Jeff Hardy, and Edge. Stacked. I mean, almost to the point where you're like, man, like, and I know some of this was, Punk and Orton are a little bit different now, but you look at those guys and you're like, maybe like a CM Punk and Edge match, or I don't know, like Hardy's for, that was a very loaded Money in the Bank match, especially when our next match is Great Khali defeating Kane in 5 minutes. Benoit is going to retain the U.S. title against MVP. Undertaker. This is a match we've covered before, and this is one of those where, like, in our 350 matches, this is one of those I remember as being like, wow, this was a hell of a lot better than I ever would have thought or remembered. Undertaker continues the streak, defeats Batista in 15 minutes to win the World Heavyweight Championship. The ECW originals of RVD, Dreamer, Sabu, and Sandman are going to defeat the New Breed, Elijah Burke, Marcus Corvon, Matt Stryker, and Kevin Thorne in a 8-man tag match in 7 minutes. Pretty cool. The ECW guys got their WrestleMania moment though. Bobby Lashley is going to defeat Umaga. Lashley accompanied by Donald Trump, Umaga accompanied by Mr. McMahon. Steve Austin's your referee. Vince McMahon gets his head shaved. Great. Then we had our Divas buffer match of Melina defeating Ashley in a 3-minute lumberjill match. And then in our main event, Cena Michaels. So that's the show. I'd say pretty good Mania. I'm sure we'll get into some of the match ratings and how it was reviewed. But, pretty darn good roster at the time.
Yeah, and this is one overall the show was actually pretty well received. That Money in the Bank match was actually really good. This match that we're going to cover was really good. That, like you said, we covered that Undertaker Batista match. That was good. And so there was a lot of good stuff. Of course, you're going to get, the women's match wasn't good. Like, the Khali match, Kane match, of course, not good. But what do you expect? So this one, though, in the lead up to this one, these guys were tagging quite a bit. And it really turned into there was never any heel like that was, established predominantly in this matchup. It was more just the two of them was Cena the kind of new guard and the new standard bearer moving forward. And Michael's, still trying to go with the young kids, which Cena was a young kid at this point. And so, at least in the wrestling world. And so it was more about respect than anything else. And so they didn't really play up the heel and face angles on this one, but, kind of focus more on, okay, let's look at the legacy of this. Let's look at, can Michaels have one last reign? Cena's coming into this one as the champ, and really just kind of respect between both guys. So nothing too crazy, but, for a main event, really good.
Well, I'm looking forward to covering it. Two of the all-time greats, Shawn Michaels. We have so much to talk about. WrestleMania, Shawn Michaels. It's a 28-minute match, I think. So we've got a lot to cover. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Okay. It's time for the payoff.
Ho! It's time for the payoff.
And he is capable of just about.
All right, here we go. JR, King on commentary.
Discounting John Cena's heart, his determination. Cena has dominated the WWE in the last couple of years.
All right, so Cena's been dominating for the last few years, as JR said. An odd entrance, and I know this because I actually recently watched some of this with my son. Shawn comes out. He's got the red and white, the traditional HBK look, but he came out to the DX music. I guess because, this was originally going to be Triple H's spot before he got hurt and, showing the DX solidarity, but it just looked weird on TV. It's like he's, coming out to DX, but then Shawn Michaels. I know this was a different era, but if I have your permission to rebook this, they could have done a really elaborate HBK entrance where maybe he started off coming out to HBK, but then it transitioned into DX or vice versa, or somehow he had DX gear on and then it became HBK. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like there's things that you could have done. And it's not like this match was 40 years ago. I mean, this is right around the time that Shawn Michaels did the iconic come down in the white. And then, he was the contrast with The Undertaker. They had already done major, cinematic entrances at this point. So I thought it was kind of odd that they didn't do anything considering it was the main event. Cena came out with like a car and broke glass and stuff. So like, maybe they didn't want Shawn to overshadow him or whatever, but I just thought that, there's obviously things they could have done with Shawn, Mr. WrestleMania with a grand entrance.
Yeah, and Cena, because I was at this show because of the being in Detroit. That's why Cena got like the Ford Mustang kind of entrance, and like you said, breaking the glass and making a big deal of it. Yeah.
So I've got a list pulled up where this is ranked as the 8th best match of Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania. Might as well
just WrestleMania.
Yes. So,
okay.
And by the way, and you'll get into this in the aftermath, but both of these guys have said that they had better matches afterwards. So, interestingly enough. So let's just go through the full list very, very quickly. I won't go into great detail, but Shawn Michaels had 17 WrestleMania matches. So Tito Santana was 17, which was at WrestleMania 8. Then we had the 3 Rockers matches after that. Tatanka at WrestleMania 9, which you and I watched. Other than a BS DQ finish, that was a hell of a match in my opinion. Diesel at 12, the Benoit Triple H match at 11, which is funny because it's a very good match, right? Like that was a very good main event. It's the 11th best match. And as we get through some of these others, you're like, yeah, maybe it was 11. 10 was Austin. I know that it wasn't the greatest match, but man, with the Tyson stuff and, the Austin era has become, to me, that was a great match, right? Just maybe not the in-ring of some of the other ones. 9 was the Vince Brawl, which was great. This was 8. Angle was 7, which I don't know, man. These are tough, okay? I thought that was one of the best WrestleMania matches of all time. 6 was Jericho, which I thought the Angle match was better. 5 is Flair, which, I mean, you could say it was the best Shawn Michaels. I mean, it just depends on how you feel about that moment, but that was excellent. Iron Man match is very polarizing. Love it, hate it. I don't know. It's still a tough one, but, I tend to think it was great. The Razor ladder match, and then, of course, the 2 Undertaker matches. So, you're looking at a very good match that was ranked 8th and is probably ranked in the right spot, which is just wild. I mean, his body of work at WrestleMania was unparalleled, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. It's hard to overlook any of it. Like, it's weird to think like it feels weird. Like what was his win-loss record at Mania? Do you have that on that list by any chance? Or after 17 matches, I'm wondering, I feel like he had to be over 500, but
so I'm not going to get here. So here, I'll just go through. He lost both to Taker, so 0-2. He lost to Razor 0-3, beat Brett 1-3, Flair 2-3, Jericho 3-3, Angle 3-4, Cena 3-5. 4-5, 4-6, 4-7, 4-8, a DQ. He's 5-8, and then whatever the Rockers matches were. So yeah, he was under 500.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I mean that feels. We talk about having to win and going out on top, but like his win-loss obviously speaks differently to that. Like, and that's I'll kind of transition us into the Mania season this year. And because we have not talked about Mania, it's our kind of first recording since the show. The week, which is barely not even a week out. We don't even have our favorite person's ratings at this point.
They're not out yet.
And so
he's been too busy feuding with Conrad on Twitter, which we're going to talk about. At some point.
Well, that and trying to and the Make-A-Wish stuff. I don't know if you saw that the other day, or last night, whatever it was.
I've got that on my list too. We can talk about that whenever you want.
Well, let's just start with the obvious. What did you think of night 1? What did you think of night 2? What did you think of it as a whole?
I don't know if I have any different take than what the consensus is, which is night 1 wasn't that great. Night 2 was very strong. I was there.
Yeah.
My kid my kid had the time of his life. He loved every second of it, was totally hooked. We had a great time. So it's funny because, you're seeing all these people bitching about, ESPN commercials and night 1 sucked and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, I'm not going to, tell you your opinion's wrong, but I will tell you that, I paid good money for tickets. I know it wasn't the best show of all time, but I left that building like having had the time of my life. My kid was thrilled. We made lifelong memories. I felt as a ticket buying fan, I felt very good about my purchase. Now, I got the tickets on StubHub. They were I don't even know if they were a third of face value. They may have been a fifth of face value. Okay. So I got a great deal on them. That was part
and
of
you purchased, so everyone knows you purchased it day before. Yeah. And I monitored it every hour afterwards because I obsess over this, and I got as good of a deal as I was going to get. There was no better deal to be had either night than the tickets I got the day before. So I was as a fan that was there live, I loved it. I had a great time. But it was good. I could go down a rabbit hole on this. I will just tell you that what keeps my expectations a lot lower than other people these days is the fact that I recognize the calendar. And Jeff, what I mean by that is we have Backlash in a few weeks. Then we have Clash in the Castle a few weeks. Oh, by the way, there's a Saturday night's main event. Oh, by the way, there's a Saudi show at the end of June. Oh, by the way, Madison Square Garden, Saturday night's main event. And that's the same weekend as Fanatics. So probably Fanatics Fan Fest, whatever. So in New York. So probably have to load that one up. Then you have 2 nights of a stadium at SummerSlam, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it's like, you just can't say, okay, we're going to book WrestleMania as if none of this stuff is happening and we don't need to have a long-term storyline. Oh, why did we book Orton Cody the way we did? Well, because we need to do it 2 more times. Okay. I mean, it's just, I don't look at these shows in isolation. I mean, I can say, hey, it was okay, but I get what we're trying to do here, right? Like there's so many things that have to happen. All of these platforms are spending hundreds of millions of dollars for this content. So you can't just go, okay, we're going to load up ESPN. Like, well, ESPN wants 12 other kick-ass shows this year, and NBC wants theirs, and USA wants theirs. And oh, by the way, you better load up Netflix on Monday nights. So you can't have everyone debut at WrestleMania or even the Raw after WrestleMania because you need to draw a rating the next one and the next one and the next one. So, the job that Triple H and Nick Khan have and everyone else has is, how do we balance the short term with the long term? How do we send these fans home happy? In a TV show, Jeff, like you can really play with people's emotions in Breaking Bad, because if you do a cliffhanger, there aren't 70,000 people watching it live that want to go home happy, right? Like you can fuck with people's emotions a lot more in any other form of entertainment. And then sports, it's like it doesn't matter because, oh, hey, it was a blowout, it was a terrible game, and the home team lost. Well, there's no control of the outcome. So like you can, fans can be pissed off leaving the stadium. They can be mad at ownership or the GM or whoever. But at the end of the day, you're like, well, that's sports. So wrestling's this weird thing where, you have to satisfy people in person. You are in complete control of the outcome. So it's not like you can blame, a knockout in the first round or a 31-0 football game or whatever, or the weather or anything else. You just can't blame anything else. So overall, again, I think I felt like everyone else did. I think Punk and Reigns is probably one of the better matches
in the history of WrestleMania. The only thing selfishly I would have liked to have seen as a fan that I think is relatively easy to pull off is you had The Undertaker backstage. You had Steve Austin backstage. I don't know who else you had backstage, but, you know, I got to be honest, man. How much better would you have felt about night 1 or night 2 if Steve Austin and John Cena drank a beer together, or Cena took a stunner? I mean, like that. It just felt like an easy win especially for the 40 plus in attendance, right? Like to do something like that. So that's one little critique I have, but overall happy with it. What about you? I mean, you had a different viewing experience on ESPN, obviously.
Yeah, and then I got another question for you on it. But I think that I actually I watched both nights. My wife actually watched it with me, not necessarily because she wanted to, but because I took over the TV in the living room. And so she, every once in a while she'd be like, "Oh, that's a big guy," like, or, "Oh, like that outfit's cool." And so,
speaking of big guys, how blown away were you by that tweet I sent you yesterday? Hulk Hogan is the same size. Hulk Hogan in his prime was the same size as Obafemi is now. It's incredible.
That's like crazy. Yeah, that's absolutely insanity. And so, you were there in person, and with your kid. I was here kind of with my wife, who was, barely watching. I always say a lot of times, like, these types of events are made for TV. The Super Bowl is made for TV. The NCAA tournament, and all of the football championships, all that stuff, it's made for TV. And I feel like that was very, very glaring where I sat. I do fall in the category of the advertisements got annoying. Like, it was nonstop. Even like through streaming it's a little bit, more annoying because I don't necessarily know if I'm getting doubled up on the commercials or, I don't know what's happening anymore. And so that's the kind of question I have for you, is someone who was there both nights. Like the downtime, what did it feel like? Like you got, I'm sure you got some things, but yeah, go ahead.
We got Shawn Michaels bleeding now. Hell of a match. I mean, they're just beating the shit out of each other.
Oh, man. Cena mentioned Michaels, and Cena now
Michaels bleeding pretty good here. But
the downtime,
it's not nearly as bad in person as it is on TV. And I'll say the same. Like, we went to SmackDown. I don't know, a couple months ago, I think. They have figured out a good way in arenas, in stadiums, of not making it as bad. So it is absolutely worse on television than it is in person. Just because of the stuff they play. The only, and this isn't like a defense of ESPN, because the commercials drive me nuts. The streaming commercials, if you're watching it after the fact, popping up randomly, drive me crazy. Okay, I can't stand it. And I also think it's kind of bullshit of like, okay, I'm spending $30 for ESPN Unlimited, so like cut the commercials. I'm paying the highest tier of Netflix. Like, come on, man. Like, I'm at the point where I'd pay more just to not have anything. But obviously, two things. One is they're paying a lot of money for it. They need to recoup the money. They're going to run ads. Okay, that's one point I want to make. All right. The other is, I do think over time we will adjust our viewing habits to this. Meaning, you're going to watch a match, and then you're going to go take a leak. And then you're going to watch another match, and you're going to get a snack. And then you're going to watch another match, and you're going to jump in the shower real quick. Like, whatever, right? Like, you're just going to get programmed for match break, match break, match break. And I don't watch UFC. I don't watch boxing. So I don't know. Maybe that's how those genres work. But, like, I just feel like that's going to be the new way we do things. Match break, match break. So you can watch the commercials, or you can look at your phone, or you can go run an errand or whatever you need to do, right? But like that's what I would encourage people to do. And what I'm going to try to do is like not get pissed off about it, but just plan on like doing something in between each match, as silly as that sounds. The other point I'll make is I was thinking about this during the NFL draft. I mean, Jeff, at the end of the day, a lot of this is we're just catching up with every other sports property. There's a hell of a lot of commercials on an NFL game. NFL, guy gets drafted. We're going to take Bill over to the Tops area, and he's going to make his own card. I mean, they were doing that right after draft picks.
That was crazy to see.
So it's an activation, right? It is an ad inside the show. So there's sponsors everywhere. It's like, I feel like we're just catching up, and the reason it's so annoying is because Kevin Dunn and Vince McMahon forever ran something that looked a lot different, and that's what we're used to. And if you're watching an AEW pay-per-view and you're paying $60, they're not running ads in between. So, wow, we're going to get a pile driver on the steps.
Yikes.
I mean, this is a brawl, man.
Yeah, I think it's so really.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, I just feel like a lot of this is just catching up. I'm not defending it, but this is how every other property works. And if you don't want to be on pay-per-view, this is what you're going to get.
Well, and I don't know how much you follow the kind of that you talk about the Tops and the draftees signing their cards. Would have been last night. Like I was like, the hell? And I was like, they were printing on the spot a card, one of one. And I don't know how much you are into or kind of follow the card market, but it's exploding right now in every sport. And whether it's sports cards, whether it's, Pokemon, like whatever it is like there is a ton of money moving through those things. Logan Paul, he's always got the chain on with the Pokemon card and stuff sometimes. And so, he makes a big deal of it. And so I think that's something that we as wrestling fans forget. Like it is a gigantic machine. Yeah. Snickers needs their ad time. Like, the general needs his ad time. Like you need all these different things that go into it. You have to take, you've got to advertise Netflix. You got to advertise the show that's on Netflix, but you're on ESPN. Well, the draft is this week on ESPN. So we're not going to not say anything about the draft. Like we want people, but then also we got to advertise like Backlash, but then we're going to announce Night of Champions is going to be in Saudi Arabia. And so, I think it's a really good point of like they're playing catch up in a lot of different areas. You don't have to like the ticket prices. You don't have to like some of the stuff where, are they in creative? Are they not in creative? Bringing in celebrities? Who knows? I think that the celebrity angle, for whatever reason, maybe this year it just didn't take well, but name me a WrestleMania that hasn't had a celebrity in it. Like, to some degree, like, the Johnny Knoxville match with Sami, it was one of the better, funnier matches. You and I love that one. And so, but like, it was a big deal. Mike Tyson, Cyndi Lauper, going back to the first ones, like you just, so, okay, maybe you didn't want it this year they read the room wrong sometimes. It's going to happen. But also like, the next week there's Raw, where we've got SmackDown, we've got Backlash coming up. Like it's never ending. So you know what? If you don't like it right now, that's fine. Like, but it doesn't mean I don't turn into huge elbow drop there from Michaels. Doesn't mean I don't turn into AEW every once in a while just to see what's going on. And I was like, not for me this week. Like, okay. But then, and you can feel the same way about WWE. But like, I think you had a really good comment too about like, I've got my stopwatch ready for the next match, everybody. Like, make sure that, you're ready to go when that bell rings with, getting your timer ready to go. It's like, is this really what we've come to? There were so many posts about that. Like,
is it really bothering you that it was an 8-minute match instead of a 12-minute match?
Now Shawn
right.
finishes off with this.
Oh, and that's like the whole, you can't compare. It's oranges to apples to tomatoes. You can't compare any of it. They're like, oh, well, Liv had a longer match on Raw the next night. It's like, okay, so she did. Like, whatever. Like, yeah, would I have liked a longer match? Sure. But also, like, then you would have gotten the other complaints of, like, why did they give the women 15 minutes? It's like, come on.
Well, you're looking for things to complain about. And then it's like, you want it to be presented like a sport. Okay, well, if it were a sport, then sometimes some UFC fights last for a few minutes and others go the full thing. So it's like you want it to be presented as a sport, or you want it to be presented like with some legitimacy. But then what is so should every match be 15 minutes? Is that the right number? Should every women's match be above 10 minutes? I mean, I don't tell me how long a match should be. I don't follow that at all. By the way, it's a hell of a match right now. Like certainly.
Yeah,
better
they're really going with super kicks. We got everything happening. Yeah,
and they're on their feet for it. And here, I'll tell you this with the McAfee thing. So, like, if you have a TV deal with ESPN, and you have to get Pat McAfee involved. So how do you get him involved? Well, if you gave him a match, then everyone would bitch that he has a match on WrestleMania, but Joe Hendry doesn't. Okay, so like your favorite guy doesn't have a match, but he does. Okay, so like, okay, you didn't give him a match. All right, so you want to involve him in a storyline. Well, what storyline do you put him in? I mean, if you put him in the women's tag one. I mean, I agree it wasn't great, but it's like ESPN may have demanded they use McAfee, or WWE may have just gone, well, yeah, why wouldn't we use him? I mean, it was all over everywhere. My father-in-law, who doesn't watch wrestling, was like, I saw you, because we were on the hard cam night one. He's like, I saw you on, I'm watching McAfee. So it's like, it's just good to have that exposure. So again, I don't know if that was, maybe it wasn't the right storyline. I don't know. But like, you did need to involve him. Well, he didn't wrestle a match. So you got to pick a storyline to put him in.
And did they really? And I think because the reports now are that they realized the reaction to it, but did they really interfere with the match? No. Like, it was an elbow drop. Like, that's it.
It added an element to it. It got a good pop early on. It got a good pop at the end. Like, it worked just fine. I mean, McAfee had a ton of heat. Oh boy.
Well, and that's, I think back to, like, what was it? It was not even 6 months ago where you had Michael Cole and like Gunther and Pat McAfee and defending his honor, and he's like screaming to be on McAfee's side, like, get him, Pat. And now he's like, screw that guy, Pat. Like, it's like, you know what? It's 6 more months. Pat's gonna be back, and whatever. Yeah. It's just, you never know. Like, it's wrestling. It's changing all the time. Cena catches Michaels, rolls through him after going for the crossbody. Yep, he's getting him up. It looks like. Yep.
You gotta be kidding me!
Oh. No, Michael's landing on his feet. Miss. Oh, man.
I mean, these guys are cooking.
Technical wrestling. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Listen to the crowd. Everybody's on their feet.
You gotta look at that. Look at that. Yes. Oh, my God. Man, that's
close.
Really good match.
Oh my God.
The only, I will tell you, the only challenge with matches like this is when you have the baby face versus baby face, I'll even argue some of the Punk Reigns stuff. I mean, did you care who won? I didn't. I mean, I'm I kind of want Punk to win, I guess, but now I'm very intrigued by the Reigns title reign. So like, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I like this match right here. It's not like, and part of it's like, Cena's polarizing. Of course, Cody's now falling in that category. It's just tough. Sometimes when you have the traditional, WrestleMania 18, everyone in that building wanted Hulk Hogan to beat The Rock. So it leads to a little more excitement when it's, everyone's excited or everyone wants someone to win versus, people are just like, the 2 count without, wanting one guy or the other to win.
Well, and it's like, what's going to make people happy? Like if you were to sit somebody down and say, hey, I didn't like night one, I didn't like night two, or, night two was fine. But then immediately it's like, they're running the bloodline back. It's like, okay, like what is going to make you happy? Like not every storyline is going to be what you want. Not everything is going to be perfect. So like figure it out. Like don't watch. Like I know that's not the solution and not what TKO wants, I'm sure, but it's like, you know what? Like you tune in 1 3-month period and you're going to watch wrestling start doing something. And then the next 3 months, it's going to be totally different. And even if you're just watching the premium live events, like just enjoy it. Like, that's really, and yeah, okay. You want 5-6-star matches, go watch AEW. That is what they're doing. But at the same time, like I'm invested in more of the story in WWE. Like, and it's even then I'm not like, I'm reading, we don't read the dirt sheets like we used to, but yeah, it's just, so figure out what's going to make you happy with it, or just don't watch it.
So here's a little theory for you. So you know how people scroll through Instagram and they see like other people on vacation and doing all these things, and then they get like depressed because they feel like everyone else's life is better than theirs. So
yes,
okay. So just want to make sure I didn't lose you there. Okay, so you get that, right? I think we all get that. So I feel like we do that with wrestling too, where it's like we'll look at the Attitude Era and think every week Stone Cold came out on a beer truck, and every single week Mike Tyson knocked out Shawn Michaels, and every single week there was a screw job, or every single week Mick Foley fell off a cage, right? And it's like I feel like we there's a lot of fans that completely romanticize over past eras, thinking everything was amazing, and then they go, this WrestleMania, wasn't perfect. Well, most WrestleManias weren't perfect. And what is the perfect WrestleMania? Yep. WrestleMania 17 was the best one ever. Okay. Go look at the other 11 pay-per-views that year. Guess what? Many of them sucked.
Yep.
And many of the Raws sucked. And many of the SmackDowns that were probably pre-taped sucked. Okay. So a lot of, holding WWE the standard of where, hey, we know you're producing 2 to 3 times as much content, but we also expect it to be better. It's absurd, Jeff. Is he going to tap out? There it is.
There it is. Yep.
That was a very, very, very good match.
Yep.
I mean, the only critique I have on it is I just don't like Cena, and I'm serious. The guy's never done anything for me. I appreciate everything he did for the business, but it's like it's just like But at the same time, it's like it doesn't. If Cena was a heel, then it would be cool for Shawn to win. But it's like, why would Shawn win this match?
But I remember being there. Like this was a good match.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Undertaker one was the bigger deal. Like, this was a great main event. Going back and watching it, but yeah, you just gotta, that's what I remember was the Undertaker.
Yeah. Yeah, and that felt like the bigger match. But you understand my point of like people are expecting they're comparing this to the past, but then they're remembering the past far better than it was. Right. And then they're also not taking into account that our objective now isn't to sell pay-per-views. Our objective now is to provide programming to all of these different people paying hundreds of millions of dollars. So not everything's going to build to a pay-per-view. Some of it's going to be on Raw or Saturday Night's Main Event or SmackDown. So, all right,
absolutely.
Let's get to the aftermath.
Ho! It's time for the aftermath.
What'd you think?
Really, really good. Like there's no way to overlook any of it. Like it was just a really good match. Both guys, Michael's a little bit older, but didn't seem like it. Like it was just a really good wrestling match.
Fireworks going off. Cena.
I say your thoughts on it.
We'll keep this on. Yeah, I mean, I thought it was an excellent match. I mean, excellent. And they would go on to do more, as you're going to talk about. I'm not a Cena guy. So it's just like that's the only part of this where, I don't know. Different guy might feel differently.
Yeah.
All right. What happened?
Yeah, in this one, like it kind of solidified Cena as he could be the main event guy. Like he could carry the main event. Obviously, WrestleMania, like he could do it. Like you said, while it's a good match, and it was more an early good match for him. Like it was not, it took a little bit. We know that there's a lot of better matches, but not that it was bad, but there was better. So Michaels on the flip side, just kind of respectfully bowed out after this one. There was no more feud that continued, anything like that. And so, but it did prove that Michaels could still go. So that's what, the biggest thing that came out of it. And so PWI for this year, John Cena was 1, Shawn Michaels was 6. This one got, out of, it looks like about, what do we got here? 700, maybe 750 votes. Only 29 were a thumbs down. It was split between thumbs up and in the middle for the rest of everything else. And this was hands down the best match on the card, followed only by Undertaker and Batista. I would disagree, but it was still really good. Then Money in the Bank came in 3rd place. Cena got the most elaborate entrance, race car driving Ford Mustang around the streets, turning fast corners, driving through glass, staging in front of people. In the end, Cena used an FU and got the STFU in the middle of Michaels tapping out. After the match, Cena went to shake hands, but Michaels walked away. The crowd booed Cena, winning a lot, but they seemed happy that they saw a strong main event. 4 stars. Tom, what are you thinking?
What I'm thinking is this would have been a good opportunity to turn John Cena heel. And I don't know if this is the right time. I'm not sure timeline wise, but man, I have this at an 8. I just think this was a really good match. I think maybe a surprise element of Shawn winning, even if you gave the title back to Cena a month later, I think that could have really been, again, I'm a huge Shawn Michaels mark. So how would I have booked this match? I would have done everything they did, but Shawn hits a super kick out of nowhere. He wins the match, and we can't believe it, but after all these years, Shawn Michaels has another WrestleMania moment. I might have even tried to recapture him on his knees like he was at WrestleMania 12, even if you're going to give the title back to Cena a month or 2 later. But I think that would have given them more matches to go. I think this could have been a trilogy where 2 more pay-per-views and then, have Cena win the 2nd and 3rd one. But overall, I just thought this was really, really good. And you're right that probably the real main event of this show was Taker Batista. And they probably didn't realize how good it was going to be.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. I'm at a 7. I'm at a 7.5, 8 on this one. I think it was pretty good. There's no denying that. Like I said, I have my personal kind of feelings for being there and everything like that, but it doesn't mean it was bad by any stretch of the matter. It was a great match. So just solely based on the match alone, it's 9.5. And so, but that's wrestling though. You're going to like something that I don't like. I'm going to like something you don't like, but we're still going to keep plugging on with this. So, yeah.
Cool. What do we have next week?
Okay. What do we have next week? We're going to mix it up. No longer WrestleMania. And so we are going to 2011. And we're going to cover Christian and Randy Orton. Kind of a oddball one that was on the list, but why not?
Is this after Edge had to retire? I think so.
I'll have to double check. We have to tune in next week.
Yeah. So I remember this being an interesting one. So, all right, good. Well, I'm excited to cover that one. I love this match. It was a good one. So we'll see you next week on an all new episode of The Payoff.